Blatant discrimination. This is how the Association of Southern African Travel Agents describes the different requirements for South African children travelling outside the country. The Home Affairs Minister has announced that foreign minors visiting South Africa with their parents will no longer require an unabridged birth certificate or consent letter. South African children will still need them when travelling across our borders. SATA CEO Otto de Vries believes the idea is ridiculous. He joins me now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Ridiculous indeed. Why?
Well, this is exactly the point. It seems surprisingly inconsistent. Whilst I believe the intent was a good one in terms of trying to address the concerns around child trafficking, what we're seeing here is an inconsistent application of the Children's Act as it's been applied by the Department of Home Affairs. And we cannot understand why bona fide tourists, whether they are inbound or outbound, hold foreign or South African passports, should be dealt with through this very blunt instrument, which is the legislation as it currently is applied for South Africans and South African families that wish to travel abroad.
I mean, it's been described as they didn't want to trouble international tourists, so don't trouble them, but trouble us.
Trouble us, and I think this is the concern. You know, it is very inconsistent, and we don't believe that after 5 years of having engagements and discussions, having been basically advised that we could anticipate that this policy would be rescinded, to only now find that the policy has only been rescinded for foreign tourists wishing to travel to South Africa. So we don't understand and we don't appreciate the inconsistency with which this is being applied.
I mean, when I lived in Qatar, I had to get the unabridged, the letter of consent, all of that. I mean, it is time-consuming. It is a pain. It really is. And for people who want to travel, South Africans coming back home or out, I mean, that'll affect our economy.
Well, I think this is the point. You know, I think there's a large misunderstanding with regards to how travel and tourism works. And whilst we're seeing an increasing recognition of the opportunity and the value that it contributes towards the South African economy, it is not just inbound tourism that drives that economy. The South African travel industry is a very, very active and alive industry. We delivered a business index report at the end of 2017, which highlighted that just through our membership alone, the industry's turnover was valued beyond 40 billion rand and employs directly 9,000 people. If we think about the amount of leisure travel that takes place, there are between 300,000 and 400,000 South Africans that travel internationally just for leisure on an annual basis.
We don't want to stop that.
And, you know, what we want to see is an opportunity for that economy to also grow and to continue to contribute to the fiscus and hopefully help to recover this economy.
You say the right intentions were there. I mean, child trafficking, obviously an incredibly important and horrible situation in South Africa, but it happens everywhere, doesn't it?
And I think this is the point. You know, there is an opportunity here for us to look at global best practice, to provide some level of consultation and to look at how other parts of the world are addressing this concern. Rather than utilizing this blunt instrument, why are we not educating? Why are we not engaging with other foreign organizations like Interpol to identify best practice and to teach and show our immigration officers what to look out for and where the concerns might well be, rather than again using this blunt instrument through airports where foreign tourists as well as South Africans travel through with their families. And you know, we really don't believe that this is the right approach, and we really hopefully and sincerely reach out to the Minister to consider our position and to also again and look at these concerns.
Who's doing it well?
I think most markets are doing it well. You know, we've signed the Children's Act, which is a global agreement. It's not inconsistent, you know, in terms of what we are trying to address here with other markets and in other parts of the world. I mentioned Interpol, which is a global body, but I think if we look across Europe, the United States and Canada, the Australians, there's very clear evidence that there are better ways to try to address these concerns than the current way that we have chosen to do that.
Well, we've got the Minister coming in later. I mean, what would your message be?
My message would be, Mr. Minister, please rescind this policy and consider, you know, how do we find a meaningful balance between the safety and security of our children and the economic growth opportunities that travel and tourism can definitely provide for this economy.
Otto de Vries, thank you very much.
Thank you.